got a new project. It's a 2002 Honda Rancher 350. Got it off Marketplace. The people said that it needs a starter. After looking at it further, it is also going to need the starter solenoid and the main power wire, as well as a key. So I'm gonna see if I can't create a jumper wire just to throw power to the bike and see if we have power throughout. And then if that is the case, then I'll get a starter solenoid, and we'll see if we can't get this thing to start. All right, so I created a little jumper wire. I'm gonna plug this in down into there and then connect this other end to a jump box, and we're gonna get that set up and then see if we have any power. All right, so I got this little jumper wire in, and we do have power there. Do we have headlights? We do have headlights. So realistically, that jumper wire works. I'm gonna see if I can't find the correct wire for it. But from here, I guess I'll get a starter solenoid, and we'll go from there to see if we can't get this thing to at least try and start. All right, so I got a starter solenoid for it. I'm gonna plug that in and get that ran. This is actually the proper wire that plugs in to that main wire. So I'm gonna get all this hooked up and the starter, and then I will turn this back on whenever I get that all hooked up. All right, so I got the starter in and it is connected. I have all this temporarily ran until I figure out how this thing, if it's gonna run or not. So we got a starter solenoid in, we got this main power wire hooked up, and power is hooked up. So let's see if it spins over. Maybe. All right, so we still have power. That's a good thing. All right, so it does spin over. I'm gonna get some brake clean and throw it in there and see if this thing won't bust off. So I sprayed brake clean in there. All right, so it does run. I'm gonna work on cleaning the carburetor and the gas tank, and then we'll see if this thing actually drives or not. All right, so to remove the carburetor, I believe I'm going to have to remove the choke cable, remove this Phillips head there, sorry, right there, and then remove this cover. The throttle cable should come off. Should be able to disconnect these, and then the carb should come off. All right, so the throttle cable has been removed, and in the process of trying to remove the choke cable, I broke it off. So we'll see about maybe trying to fix that. But next I'm going to remove the 4 bolts on the bottom to get access to the jets and the float, see if I can't clean those. And I'm going to remove this and see if I can't clean inside there. And I might just take the air compressor to it and try and blow out a bunch of these holes where dirt's packed. All right, so 2 of the bolts were stuck for the bowl, but I put a pair of vice grips on them and got them broke loose, so I was able to get it off. I'm going to remove this pin here, which holds the float on, and then I'm going to pull the jets out and make sure they're clear. I'm going to guess that they're not going to be clear because the bowl is pretty disgusting, but we'll clean them and see what happens. All right, so the float is out along with the needle. The pin's kind of stuck in there, so I'm just going to leave it there. Pulled this out of there, and this one is loose, and I'm going to put a wrench on this one and pull that out, and then we'll spray it with brake clean and try and clean it up. All right, y'all, so it did not come as clean as I would have liked it to, but I feel that all that matters is that I can see through my jets. So I'm gonna reassemble this and put it back on the quad. All right, so for the gas tank, it does not have a fuel petcock on there. And if you listen, you can hear everything inside. So what I'm gonna do is probably just plug this up with my finger, put a little bit of gas in there and just slosh it around, and then I have a brand new fuel petcock for it. So let me get this clean and the petcock in, and then we'll go back to it. All right, so I've sloshed gas around, and it's fairly clean. This is the fuel petcock that I ordered off of Amazon. So we're gonna get this put together and put back in there, and then I'll pick this back up when that's done. All right, so the brand new petcock's on there. I'll worry about putting this on there after I get it on the 4-wheeler. And now I'm gonna get this key replaced. So what you wanna do is you wanna get a flathead, and you just kind of stick it in there and twist up. And then it pops right out. So on mine, this is the plug here. So let me get that undone, and then I'll come back whenever I got the new wire routed through there and new key switch in. All right, so the old one's out. This is the new one here. It does make it a little easier to get that wire ran up under here and then down through that hole there due to my gas tank being out. So let me get this new one ran through and then I'll pick it back up when it's plugged in. So I got the new one ran and it's all buttoned back up. So what you want to do is when you're putting this in, there's a little notch right here. Make sure that's lined up with your other notch. So you'll just push that in and then you'll see it clicks into place. Cool, new key ran. So the carb is back together. You'll see about putting it back on, hooking it all back up, and I guess we'll see if this thing runs. Alright guys, so I got the carb back in. Due to the choke lever, the plastic breaking off in there, I got it out, but I have to cover it with my finger for it to start. But, I mean, other than that, it is running on its own, so I'm gonna have to find a way to block that off so it can continue to run on its own and I don't have to hold my finger over it. I blocked that hole off, so technically this would be the first ride. $170 Honda Rancher 350. Running and driving after just putting the carb or starter and starter solenoid on it. Alright y'all, well that was the Honda 350. I'm gonna end up doing a little other stuff to it, but we got it to run and ride, so that's cool.